Hey everyone, Ben here. We're going to do another Brothers War draft. Just recording this for the YouTube channel. Thanks again for all the warm welcome back and all the nice comments on the other two drafts. And let's keep this going. Try to do about a draft a week. All right, so let's see. Tokasia's Welcome is really good. If you draw that at the end of a game, sure, you might not have creatures left in your hand, but in this format with Unearth, it's pretty easy to like always bring something back, draw a card, then you get your draw step, you probably find something else, you draw another card. Basically, the cards you draw off it give you more creatures to draw more cards off it, so you can always keep it going. Go for the Throat's pretty good removal. Even though there's a lot of artifact creatures, there's still a lot of non-artifact creatures, and 2-mana instant can be really like effective. They don't see it coming. You know, if it's a 3 toughness creature that doesn't die to disfigure, then it's an uncommon. They can't necessarily expect it, unless you're me in the previous draft video. Pat myself on the back again. But yeah, so it's good. It's good efficient removal. Self-Assembler's nice to start with. I mean, I wouldn't want to first pick it. It's not that good of a card, but if you get one early, you can end up with 3 of them or something. I think this is a pretty easy Tokasia's Welcome. Steel Exemplar also can be good with the Power Stones. It's pretty easy to make that a 6/6 trample. I talked about that when I drafted Mono Black. Like, if that's a 6/6 trample for 5, that's a really good card in this format. The creatures are pretty small. If it's a 4/4, that's just not a good card. 5-mana 4/4 is just not a good card, period. But Trample's really effective in this format. Like I said, the creatures are pretty small, so I like that a lot when it's a 6/6. Okay, so we took Tokasia's Welcome. I don't think that was a close pick at all. I think that was welcomed by miles. So here, this is also not going to be a close pick. It's going to be Scrapwork Cohort. Excavation Explosion, I believe, is a little bit better than Cohort. I know, like, the data might say otherwise, but I think that, you know, that's more reflective of white being better than red and what people are drafting. Excavation Explosion is a really good card. That said, Cohort is a really good card also, and, you know, even if it was slightly worse, I'm not forcing my first pick rare, but I'll take, you know, a 7 instead of, you know, a 7.2 or whatever when it's on color and I first pick a rare. So I think this is a pretty easy cohort. And it actually works with the Welcome because the Welcome counts tokens for some reason. So you just play cohort, you draw a card because of the 1/1 token. So that gives you a 4-drop you can play that also synergizes with your card that wants you to have all creatures that cost 3 or less. And Scrapwork Cohort just synergizes with everything. It is a fantastic card. Okay, so the white cards in this pack are non-existent except for a Cavalry, which is playable, but you still don't want to end up with too many 5s. I like the Cavalry as a common 5-drop, Curve Topper, but again, in my white decks, I'm looking to have, you know, 1, 2, 5-mana cards. As far as the rest of the pack, it's not that great, so I might consider the Cavalry. I'm definitely, you know, I would take another color card, of course. I'm not looking to draft mono white. I don't know, this pack's not great. You can take the Swift Spear, it's fine for an aggro deck, better in like a red-blue or red-black. You're going to have a lot of creatures in a white Tokasia's Welcome deck. Gruesome Realization's also fine, better in a more controlling strategy. This card's really effective in blue-black, which uses draw 2 synergies and then also can sweep the board while you're attacking with flyers. It's not going to be amazing in black-white. I could take Wing Commando. I think that's probably the best card with what I have towards like a blue-white Soldiers. Blue-White Soldier's not an archetype I like very much, so I usually only go towards it if, like, again, last draft when I started with Yoshin Soldier or something like that, I don't usually like to go into blue-white for the commons. Like, you know, I'll go into blue-white if I get pushed there with, like, I don't think it's called Yoshin Soldier, I just called it that, but the Soldier Lord, or things like that. That said, pretty weak pack. It was basically like the Gruesome Realization, the Thraxo Demon, the Wing Commando. There was nothing exciting there. I guess the 3/1 Red Soldier could also be solid for red-white. Okay, so again, pretty weak pack. Ambush Paratrooper's better than it looks. Fine playable. I don't think there's any way I'm going to do heavy black for Corrupt. I might play white-black, but I can't imagine I'm going to have like 10 swamps in my deck. So I guess this is probably just Paratrooper. Paratrooper's a weak card to be 4th picking here, but it's actually a pretty good card. Power Stones make this ability really easy to activate. Flying's pretty effective as a whole in this format. Like I said, the creatures are small. You can win in the air. I'm not in love with Paratrooper, but I'm in like with Paratrooper. This is a card that, you know, it looks like filler, and I don't consider it filler. I consider it like, you know, like a 6-pick common, like a C+, B-. But you're happy to play two copies of this card in your deck. Like, it is not filler. It is a solid playable common. Okay, so next pick. Again, these packs have just been kind of weak. Like, it's not like I'm trying to force my white welcome, but, you know, welcome into cohort's a pretty good start in white. There's not cards in other colors either, right? Like, what is the best card in this whole pack? Like, there isn't one. Like, this pack's terrible, you know? So anyways, there's no blue cards to consider. I guess Yoshin Medic is fine. It's not great. Otherwise, there's, like, Juggernaut, which doesn't really work with welcome. Just isn't a very good card overall. Like, it's fine. Okay, well, I guess white is open at least, right? Six pick cohort, you know, that and Prison Sentence are the two good white commons to get this the best white common creature for sure, and maybe the best white common overall. Prison Sentence isn't nearly as good as Excavation Explosion, for example. But to get this 6 pick, I mean, white's just wide open. Additionally, blue and black look like our other options. We haven't seen much red since the early picks, but there's a Gurgling Anointer. This is a pretty good card to be 6 pick, and a Mightstone's Animation is also a nice card. Pretty easy to make soldier tokens or turn your combat courier into 4/4. I'm not considering these here. This is a super easy scrapbook cohort. White's the color I'm committed to. I'm near 100% to play white, and I have no commitment to blue, obviously. Wing Commando's fine. But white seems wide open. That's great. We'll almost definitely play white, and we don't know what we're going to play it with. And I just talked about not seeing red, just seeing more black and blue. And now, of course, 7th pick, you have like the 2 best red common creatures are both here, Scrapwork Mutt and Strongbow. With 2 cohorts, Strongbows will be pretty good in our deck. Mutt is still probably better, especially just because it's hard to get good 2-drops, right? Like, we only have 1 2-drop, and some of the 2-drops are pretty filler. Mutt is excellent. So I think Mutt over Strongbow mostly... I think Mutt is better than Stronghold, but I don't think it's necessarily better on power level, even like adjusting for spending 3 mana or spending 2. But I think the fact that it's a good 2-drop is really important. Like, I don't want to play the red 2 mana 1/3 prowess in this deck. So, like, you know, being able to pick up enough actually good 2-drops has value. So, we have gonna play white. We have awesome white. Paratroopers, like I said, very solid. Medic, like, Welcome's great. 2 cohorts is great. But we're really seeing just, like, a little bit of everything as far as a second color, potentially. Epic Confrontation is clearly the best card in this pack. If I don't take it, what am I taking? Like a Trench Stalker? Not really a good card for white-black, although I could trigger it every turn with Welcome. Moment's Defiance is fine. I mean, so I'm going to take Epic Confrontation just in case. So this is the kind of draft where I'm committing to 1 color. Like, I'm definitely going to play white. And I'm going to try and stay open at least until the start of Pack 2. The reason for that is because then I can open a Broken Rare in any color, right? Drafts go a lot of different ways, but this is one of the common ways for a draft to go, which is where you'll see a lot of 1 color, and you're definitely going to commit to that, and then you don't want to commit too heavily, like, to a second color towards the end of Pack 1, even if it seems like it might be open. Because what if you open, like, an S-tier rare, like a totally broken card, right? If I'm only committed to 1 color, that means I can play a broken card in any color. If I open Gix's command, Tatiana's command, you know, whatever, blue rare, red rare, like, I can play a busted card in any color. So, as far as my assessment of what's open, I haven't seen much blue. Granted, blue is the worst color. It kind of stinks. You know, this is a late Rager. That's a pretty good black common. That was a late Mutt. That was a late Epic Confrontation. So, you know, and I got a 6-pick Scrapbook cohort. So, I don't know what's open. It feels to me like white is wide open. Blue is probably the least likely color I'm going to pair with it. And I could play anything else. Like, I could play white, anything. And including blue, of course, if I open, like, busted blue. But I think I'm not seeing blue. I think I'm seeing white and any other color. I don't think any of these are really good. I did just get the Infantry. I'll take the Juggernaut. White-red's pretty aggro. Juggernaut's big and trampoly. I found that card to be relatively effective. Though, again, I don't want a lot of 5-drops. It's not a great card. And now there's a Mightstone's Animation late, a super late blue card. So, like I said, this draft was weird, right? Like, I saw Great White, didn't force it, leaned towards it, but then I got like a 6-pick cohort, a 4th-pick Paratrooper. Just white seems open. But then so does everything else, kind of. So I'm not really sure what the people around me are drafting, because the packs didn't really seem that good. And then I, like, tabled, like, some of the better cards out of them when I passed them. So, I don't know. Maybe honestly, it's just kind of a weak pod and the other players aren't that good or something. I don't know. Okay, so here, Liberator is just Battle Thopter's a nice rare. You don't have to have a ton of colorless cards. Playing them at Flash is good. It's annoying for the opponent. if you leave your mana up and they know you can flash in any colorless card. But remember, this is also just a 3-mana 1/2 that grows, right? Now, I'm planning to play a lot of cheap cards, so it's not going to be that busted in my deck. But if it grows once, it's a 2/3 flyer. If it grows twice, it's a 3/4 flyer. And there's nothing exceptional in this pack, right? If I didn't take that, what am I taking? Airlift Chaplain? Fine. Like, Crusher? Maybe. Green is a color I only have one of. So, I mean, this is a pretty easy Liberator. It's colorless. I'm going to be 100% to play it, and it's the best card in the pack. But I want to be clear. It's like an A-. It's not like a broken card or something. It's mostly going to be a 3-mana 2/3 that maybe turns into a 3/4 flyer. Okay, so Reservoir, not something I can use. Thopter Architect is okay. This can be pretty annoying. Like I said, flying's pretty effective in this format. There's a lot of artifacts. Give 2 things flying when I play a cohort. But it's a 4-drop. I really want to prioritize 3 drops because of the welcome. I already have 2 4-drops cohorts that are 100% to make my deck. More if I play black or blue, even though red is probably my most likely second color right now. So I don't love the Architect here, but I might take it. Otherwise, Mightstone's Animation, Gruesome Realization. Yeah, this pack's just bad. I mean, so I guess I'm going to take the Architect. It's the color I'm playing at least. And we'll see what is in the next couple packs. So, the best card in this pack is Overwhelming Remorse, but I don't think it's enough better than Prison Sentence to take it. Now, I'm not trying to stay only committed to white through this whole pack, but if it goes that way, then again, I can play any Broken Rare open in pack 3. So basically, there isn't some strategy you can lock in when it comes to when you commit to colors, because you don't decide what you see, right? You don't know what you're going to see. Maybe the next 3 picks are going to be 3 good black cards in a row, and I'm going to end up committed to black, right? Maybe they're going to be a white card, a okay black card, and a white card, and I'm going to pick up like 1 more black card. I'm not going to be committed to black. I always say the draft decides like when you're committed to your colors, not you, right? But you do want to kind of emphasize committing to colors early in packs if it becomes clear, and staying open at the end of the pack if you're not committed to 2 colors yet. And the reason for that, I've talked about a couple of times because it's come up this draft, is then you can play Broken Rares in any color. So my favorite times to commit to colors are early in pack 2 or early in pack 3 when I get Broken Rares, and really good on commons, gold on commons, etc., etc. My favorite time to try and stay open a little more and prioritize cards in my color that I am committed to and not in my potential second colors are at the end of pack 1 and at the end of pack 2. And this draft looks like it's going to go that way. I mean, again, I'm not unwilling to commit. We're just not really seeing anything that, forces me into colors, right? Like, Thopter Mechanic is probably the best card in this pack, but Lay Down Arms for my heavy white deck is probably the second best card in this pack. I could easily play like 10 planes in my deck here. So I think I'm going to take Lay Down Arms and just keep sticking with white, right? Same thing here. I mean, maybe the Hulking Metamorph's a little better than the Vanguard. But remember, if you're like a blue-red Power Stone deck, Hulking Metamorph is fantastic. If you're like a white-blue creature deck, it's a 4-drop. I have Tokasia's Welcome. It's fine. Maybe I can copy something and get some activated ability like a 1/1 if I copy my cohort. It's not that exciting. It's good. It's solid. I would always play it. But I'd rather just pick up the solid, good, playable white 2-drop for my deck. So now, I'm not very interested in any of the white cards. I mean, Recommission's okay. I am prioritizing cards that cost 3 or less. It does put it in play and trigger the welcome. So we could take that. I don't really like Military Discipline. Stern Lesson and Gix's Caress is a card I do like. But my only black card is the Rager, right? So black's not looking that likely. Not that any second color is really looking very likely. I guess my best is red by a little bit. Am I going to play this Recommission? Probably not. I don't know. I don't want any of these cards. I guess I'll take the Caress. It's probably the best card if I do see black. But I really didn't want any of those cards, to be honest. So let's see. Okay, Burnished Heart's not great if you're an aggro deck, which I am. I don't even know if I'm going to play it or not. But it does get 2 lands for Lay Down Arms. The rest of this pack stinks. I mean, again, nothing I actually want here. You can play like a Wings, but I'm probably not going to in this deck. Maybe I should have considered the Wings a little bit more. I don't think it's bad to play like 1 copy of that card in a white creature deck. And I'm actually not that heavy on flyers. So I think if I see that again, maybe I'll pick it up. Maybe that was a mistake. I probably should have considered that. So now the best card is Mightstone's Animation, second Gigamole. Not really committed to either of these. How are the animations in my deck? Let's see, because we're towards the end of pack 2. It's great with Refractor. It's fine with Mud, although I won't necessarily play Mud if I'm playing blue. Oh, it's good with the 2 cohorts. They make a bunch of 1/1 soldiers. Okay, so I'm going to take an animation in case I go blue. Well, I guess I'll take another animation in case I go blue. I'm probably not going to play the Scrapsmith. I mean, it's decent with the 2 cohorts and a mutt, but that's not a lot of artifacts. Scrapsmith is really just a volume card, right? Like, if you have 12 artifacts, that card's really good. It's a 3-mana 2-1 that's going to draw an artifact. If you have 6, you're not going to hit a lot of the time, and then it's a bad card, right? 3-mana 3-2, not a playable Magic card. 3-mana 2-1, put an artifact in your hand, is a good Magic card. So, you know, if you have 12 artifacts, it's great. If you have 9, you can maybe get away with it. If you have 6, it's pretty bad. Okay, well, I have a lot of Mightstone's animations, which, look, if you're turning, like, just imagine there was, like, 0-mana artifact, you know, sits in play, does nothing, draws a card when it comes into play, so you don't have to spend a card on it. This card would then be, in combination with that, 4-mana, 4/4 haste draw card. That's a good Magic card, let's be clear. Now, obviously, you don't actually have a bunch of that made-up card I just made up, but some of the cards are pretty close to it, right? Refractor's 2-mana cantrip artifact to sit in play. Scrapwork cohorts leaving 1/1 soldier tokens in play. So, I think sometimes if you get the right cards, animations can be good. To be clear, you know, Stern Lesson here practically makes a Power Stone for free. To be clear, though, I'm not committed to blue just because I got a lot of mediocre blue cards here at the end of the pack. Stern Lesson and Mightstone's animation are fine. I don't really care about them. So, blue might be my most likely second color, but I'll still play white literally anything, right? Obviously, I'm committed to white, but past that, I'll play white anything, just depending on what the good cards I open are. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to stay with just white for now. I think Legion to Ashes and Loran are pretty close. And, you know, I've got these 2 cohorts, Liberator to get back, Juggernaut or Rager, whatever. Like, Loran should be effective in my deck. And 4-mana 3/3 get back a dead card is really good. Legion to Ashes might be slightly better, but, you know, we're in no way committed to black. I'm ready to commit. It's pack 3. I mean, there's nothing else to stay open for at this point. But with Loran and Legion being pretty close, I mean, there's no reason not to take Loran. Well, so the white cards in this pack are unplayable, and there's a good red card in Mishra's Command. It's not broken, but it's like an A, you know what I mean? It's like, this card I'm happy to first pick. If I'm red, kill a creature and rummage away some cards, or kill a creature and pump a creature, but, you know, it's not like a broken card. Thopter Mechanic and Overwhelming Remorse are also excellent. You know, those are both cards I would first pick, potentially, for white-blue or white-black. And the white card is unplayable, Survivor. So I guess I just take the best one and go with Command. I mean, I have more blue cards than anything else, but my red cards are as good, if not better, than my blue cards. I'm not necessarily looking for 4 Mightstone animations in a deck that doesn't make cheap artifacts that well. I do like that the Command is also splashable. I'm not planning to splash, but if I really get slammed into black or blue as a second color and not white, I mean, not red, I could still possibly light splash for the mutt, which, you know, is only red on the On-Earth, and then the single red to cast Command. Okay, that said, we got lucky here. Bolt's by far the best card in the pack. Snap Take. Mutt's good. I like Mutt. It's not better than Bolt. Bolt is really efficient removal. So this is a pretty easy Bolt in my opinion. Again, I like Pyrrhic Blast. This is a format where, you know, there's a lot of creatures sitting in play, and the ability to sack, draw a card, and kill them, go to the player, or just use it as a trick is good. Sometimes people enchant your creatures, you know, with Prison Sentence or the Weak Stone, whatever the blue enchantment removal is. It's just a good card. Not great, like I would take Excavation Explosion over it, but good. And whatever, the next best card in the pack basically is non-existent. There's Conscripted Infantry or Energy Refractor. I mean, this pack doesn't really have good cards other than it, so it looks like red is our second color here. Seems pretty easy. Going to take Conscripted Infantry now. Very solid card for white-red with Welcome. You get a card, yeah, if the infantry dies, you make a 1/1, you'll get a card off that too. You know, you can't get 2 cards in one turn, but on their turn, or if you haven't played one yet, which usually you haven't pre-combat. So it's pretty effective. So now there's Dragon Engine and Disenchant. I like playing 1 Disenchant, but I'm probably going to go with the Dragon Engine. Nice flyer for white-red aggro deck, another 3-drop. I mean, I would play 1 Disenchant. It would be my first copy, and it is pack 3. I'm not sure if this pick is right or not. I don't really make Power Stones. I'm probably never casting this for 8. But still, it's pretty effective as a 3-drop out of an aggro deck, right? Well, again, I would have another crack at Disenchant, but this time it's a clear cohort. Like I said, cohort's excellent. It's definitely the best white common creature. And it might honestly be better than Prison Sentence. Like, Prison Sense is solid. You know, the Scry 2, if you don't need any more lands, you're putting a land on the bottom. You're drawing a card, practically. But this triggers my welcome out of the 4-drop slot, and it's just all around a good card. Okay, so now we are committed to white-red. The question here is Elite or Thopter. Elite's good if you have, like, 1-drop, so you can go 1-drop, 2-drop Elite. You know, they don't have to be creatures even, just 1-drop artifacts. We don't have that. We don't even have that many 2-drops, so I think this is Reconstructed Thopter. Sigil can be a nice equipment to have as a one-of-equipment spell. Just attack with one thing and it's really big. So I have, what, 3 2-drop creatures. Refractor that I don't know if I'm going to play. I don't really do anything with it. I could use it to bring back Rager. I'm probably not going to play Rager. I have plenty of 4-drops. Rager's good, but I'm not going to splash for that. So now we have to decide, which you can because it's not black on the front part. It's just like, I have plenty of 4-drops. I don't think I'm going to play that. Anyways, Mishra here or Blast Runner. Do I have things that sack? No, not really. So Mishra. Might have like one way to trigger that or something, but that's not good. Bitter Reunion's fine card to play for 2 mana. Probably not going to play Energy Refractor since I don't use it. This is best of 1, so we're not going to be sideboarding. There's no way I'm going to play Deadly Reposit, so might as well grab 20 gems. Your boy's not above rare drafting. If it's literally over nothing. So we still have to cut like 1 or 2 cards. This is 25. Probably a 16-land deck. Bitter Reunion and Scrapper Mutt can help us find land drops, and we don't use that many lands. So we're probably cutting like 1 card. There's no way we're going to play any of those. We want to cut from the top end, especially if we're going to play 16. Although we could cut the Burnished Heart. That's not doing a lot for us. Nothing we missed over here, right? No, definitely we're not playing any of those. So let's just figure out our last 1 or 2 cuts. We could play 17 lands. I'm not super worried about flooding. I do have, you know, Juggernaut, Dragon Engine, all these cohorts. But we could also play 16 lands. You can see most of our curve here cost 2 and 3. But, you know, Bitter Reunion can discard a land if we draw a little too many. Mutt can discard 1 or 2. Command can discard 1 or 2, you know, or more. So we have a little bit of flood protection. So I could definitely see going with 17 lands. Let's see. So how good are we at triggering Welcome? Really, really good, because these 4-drops trigger Welcome. In fact, they practically trigger it twice, right? They trigger it when you play it, you make a 1-1 and draw a card, and then after you trade off the cohort, you can bring it back, make another 1-1 and draw a card. So almost all our creatures cost 2 or 3. So we don't have to cut like the 5-drop. Remember, this is a 3-drop too if we want it to be, which it will be most of the time. We're not going to cast that for 8 unless we have 8 mana. We're super flooded. We don't really make Power Stones. So basically, our curve is incredibly good at triggering Welcome and pretty low. So we can definitely cut expensive cards or cheap cards if we want. We can't cut 2-drop creatures. We only have 3 2-drop creatures. That's not great. I mean, I'm happy to spend 2 mana on the Reunion or the Sigil as well. But I'm just saying, we can cut 3-drop creatures. We have a ton of those. We can cut Juggernaut. We can cut Thopter Architect. Or we could cut a land. Those are basically the cuttables. So let's see what it looks like. I'm going to drag the cuttables over to the right. And then, what's my weakest 3-drop creatures? The Burnished Heart. The Medic. Yeah, I'm probably not going to cut any of these 1 or 2s. Okay, so these are pretty much our cuttables, plus 1 land. So, do any of them really fill out our curve or have great synergy? We have a lot of artifacts. Giving flying to like these 3-power ground creatures is pretty strong. I think Thopter Architect is probably the best of these cards. Kind of want to just cut the Medic and the Heart, I think. Play the Juggernaut and 17 lands. I feel like a land is offering me more than these weak 3-drops. I'm not worried about triggering the Welcome because, like I said, my cohorts do that and all the rest of my cards do that. I am worried about getting stuck on 2 because I don't have that many 2-drops. So if I get stuck on 2 for a turn or 2, I might not be casting anything. 3 is kind of the magic number for my deck. Meanwhile, if I draw like 5 or 6 lands, that's not great, but I have a 5-drop that comes back. I can spend my mana bringing these back, recurring things. I can also like pump this, activate that, and I can discard extra lands a few ways. Bitter Reunion, Mishra's Command. Mishra is another card to rummage away extra lands. So I think 17. I think this is the right call. Players with Mythic Orange are Wizards employees. How come they get to be Mythic? Hall of Famers don't get Mythic Orange? Just saying. This is a long queue time for the main format. Nobody's playing Brothers Limited. Somebody get in. What's going on here? You're leaving me reading these silly little arena messages. I'm starting to wonder if it's like some kind of error. A minute and a half for the Brothers War queue? I don't know. No, alright, we got somebody. Nosferatu, man. Cool name. 4 lands, 3 spells, but that's a little flooded, but we have Bitter Reunion, so turn 2, Bitter Reunion, discard a land, then we got a 3-drop and a removal spell, Snap Keep. Obviously, it's not an incredible hand, like, this isn't impacting the board. Bitter Reunion's a good card, like, in the late game, you can just give haste to something, whatever it is, and rummage away a dead land. But, or if you only drew 2 lands, then you rummage away a spell and make your land drops. But it's not, this is a good card to play on turn 4 or 5. On turn 2, you want to be playing a 2-drop and impacting the board. But we don't have one, so I'm going to spend the mana. And I don't mind, like, we already are happy to discard a land. Even though I drew a 4-drop, we're drawing 2 cards immediately. 1 for turn 3, 1 for turn 4. So that's 4 more cards to find a land to cast the 4-drop. And it's not necessarily a 4-drop I'm looking to play on curve anyway. And if we don't draw a land in those 4 cards, what are we drawing? Like, getting stuck on 3 is not a problem for this deck. I have a ton of 3-drops. Getting stuck on 2 is a problem. Okay, so next turn we can cast a Juggernaut. I don't think the Skull Flare is a great target for Bolt, but I think I'm going to use it, because otherwise I'm just not spending mana, really. I can play Sigil and equip, but I don't even have any other creatures, so equipping it's not accomplishing anything. So I'm pretty sure I want to just spend my 4 mana. I still have the Pyrrhic Blast for later, for removal for something better if I need it. This is really a weak use of Bolt, but it's really about using my mana here. Single most important thing in all of Limited is using your mana on the early turns. That's not to say you should spew, like you want to use it productively, obviously. But I mean, killing their 3-drop with my 2-mana removal spell is not unproductive. It's not great. Okay, so now I could trade Infiltrate for the 1-1, get a 1-1. That doesn't seem great. I think I just play Juggernaut and pass. I mean, don't get me wrong, this leaves a 1-1 behind, so I'd consider that trade around even. But it's not like this 1-1 is stopping anything besides the 3-1. And, like, I can get more value out of the infantry if I end up equipping the Valor to it. Well, that's not good for me. That's my only real threat here. I was hoping if they were going to kill that, it would at least be a destroy, not an exile. While I know the cohort brings something back, as you can see, this is already an example of getting a little more value out of the infantry. I'm at least trading with their 3-1 and not their 1-1. Brings itself back, but then it goes away again. It just makes another 1-1. And I want to keep my life total high enough that I don't care about taking 3 damage from that, because I definitely don't want to have to block it. Okay, not great, not horrible. I'm going to equip this so as not to be sus. And then I'm going to pass. I can bring the Liberator out, eat their 1-1, and then I can trade my 1-1 for their 2-1 if they attack with it. So I'm not sending the 1-1 here because it blocks Power Stone Engineer, so that would just be dealing 1 for 2. And I expect, since I have Sigil of Valor, they'll send their 1-1. They shouldn't not send this 1-1 just because I have a 1-1 on tapped. That would be weird. So I think they'll probably just attack with all 3 of these. Maybe they won't send the Engineer into my 1-1, I don't know. And then my Liberator should get to eat the 1-1 Soldier token of theirs. I mean, they might not send it because there's the common 1-2 for 2, but I figured they probably would. There's no reason to put that card in my hand at this stage in the game. I've had some opportunities to cast it. You know, the 1-2 flash that I like for 5 activate a creature. I mean, for 5 activate, pump all your creatures. So they had a Disfigure, even more reason for them to attack. They're not afraid. This game's going pretty poorly. Oops. I want to trade with the 2-1. I'm not concerned with giving them a Power Stone at this point on 6 mana. The Cohort goes away, so they just have 2 1-1s. Obviously, I don't have anything, but if I draw, like, Mishra's removal, the command, or if I draw Mutt, you know, there's cards I can draw. Or Misha itself, just rummage away the planes. No decisions on this. Just get rid of the 2-2 that would start drawing cards. But obviously, I'm losing on board. But like I said, I have some draws that could potentially get me out of this. Even if I just draw any of my cohorts, that already would put me effectively up a creature, right? Trade the 3-1 and the 1-1 for their 2 1-1s, and then bring it back and get another 1-1. So, really comes down to the draw steps right now. I'm losing on board. I'm definitely an underdog, but I could draw out of this if I get a decent draw step right now. Well, I can't wait for 8, so no real decision. I guess if they don't have anything in hand, that kind of stops all of their creatures. I mean, they can attack with all 3, sack a 1-1 to deal 3 to me. So now I have to make a choice. I either let them start drawing cards with Thraxo Demon, or I pump the Falaji Dragon Engine and throw it at the Thraxo Demon with the Pyrrhic Blast. I know that looks kind of aggro, but I can take 4 and go to 3, and then I get a card off the blast and a card for my next draw step, and denies them the ability to draw cards. And if I draw like one of my 3 cohorts, then I'm stabilized. That can the 3-1 trades with the unit, the 1-1 trades with one of the soldiers. I go to 2. Or if I just draw a couple creatures, I don't know. Because I really don't want to let them start sacking this Power Stone and drawing cards, right? Feels bad. Maybe I have to let them get 1 card, and then I just do it end of their turn, so I don't take 4 damage. That could be right. I'm going to play the land so that I have pump available. You know what they're also probably going to do? They're probably just going to attack with these 3, and then whatever I block, they can then sack to draw a card, and then they get in some damage. Well, I guess maybe not, because then I would probably block the Stone Retrieval unit. It's not like I would block a 1-1, because I could pump a couple times. They don't know I'm planning to blast, necessarily. I don't know. This isn't great. Obviously, this is a problem with blast, having to sack my creature. But you do get a card, and I don't see myself winning this game, letting them just sit around drawing cards. So I'm not really sure what I do here. Although I like it even less now, sacking the flyer, because now they have these 2 flyers, which the Dragon Engine stops. I think if they didn't do anything like Chaplain into Paratrooper, I would have maybe pumped, sacked, and killed the Demon Engine turn and on tap with 2 new cards. Now I don't think I can sack the flyer. I need the flyer to block their flyers, so kind of just have to draw now, I think. It's a decent draw. I mean, I'm still not in great shape, but I might be dead on board, but if I'm not dead. 3, 6, I think. Oh, no, yeah, they flash in the Paratrooper. I think I'm dead on board, but they may not go for it. If I have a removal, they might get pretty blown out if they alpha. But 6 creatures, because they're going to flash in the Paratrooper, and I have 2 blockers, so that tells them, 4 would get through. So, and the smallest will have 2 power since they can give them all +1/+1, so that means I take 8 and die. So if they alpha, I'm dead. Now, I'm not playing lands. If I had a land, I would obviously play it so I could cast the Liberator. So they know that I have spells in hand. They don't know what they are. They don't know that it's Welcome and Blast, 2 cards that don't really help me right now. So maybe they'll alpha, maybe they won't. I could see this being 50-50, because they shouldn't really be afraid to lose 2 of their creatures, because their creatures aren't that great. But on the other hand, like, they know I have spells in hand. Like 100%, if I had a land in my hand, I would play it so that I could play the Liberator, and then I wouldn't be dead on board. So, because of the opponent knows I have 2 spells in hand, they just don't know what they are. They may alpha, they may not. I could see it going either way. But they did decide to alpha, so now that means I'm dead. They're obviously going to pump. It would be crazy not to. Good game. That's alright. I mean, I drew a few too many lands. Both my Sigil, like my Blast, some of my more awkward cards. That's not indicative of a problem with my deck. Like, I have 3 Scrapwork Cohorts, 2 Conscripted Infantries. Like, I'm going to have creatures in play the vast majority of the time. You know, it just didn't go that way that game. It's kind of a frustrating way to lose because that felt like a very winnable game. They didn't beat me with like a rare. My draw wasn't that bad. You know, it wasn't like I wasn't like screwed or flooded really. They didn't beat me with a rare. It felt like a very most of their cards were fairly low power. It felt like a very winnable game. But, you know, it was just a little bit of awkwardness between drawing the Welcome at the end and having the Blast removal spell. And also, you know, just not finding any cohorts. So I wasn't able to clog the board up with creatures like I would have liked. And look, I have 3 cohorts, like I said, so sometimes it goes that way. My deck could use another creature or 2, like another 2-drop, but, you know, Bolt removes one of theirs. That's not that different. But that did show off the problem between, like, if Sigil was like a 2-mana 2/2, like, let's say Vanguard, I think it's called, the staple common white 2-drop that you always play, but it's not exciting. The 2-mana 2/2 Vigilance +1/+0 whenever you play an artifact. I think that's, what, Phalmix Vanguard, something like that. I'm trying to learn the names better. It's been a problem of mine forever. But anyways, if the Sigil had been that card, my chances of winning that game would have been way higher. I would have had substantially more life. I would have been able to throw it at the Thraxodemon and not let them draw cards, and then still have the 1/3 around to block. I might have turned that game. We don't know. So, shows you how subtle differences in games can affect it, because, you know, I lost a pretty close one there, and I think if that Sigil had been like the 2-mana 2/2, I can't say I would have won, but that might have been like, you know, a 50-50-ish game. Like, because I take out the demon, they don't draw cards. The 1/3 stops their stuff. I go on to draw that Thopter that I drew on the last turn. Definitely it's close. Okay, well, learned my lesson right. This time I'm going to throw away the Sigil to the Bitter Reunion. Make sure I don't end up with all these permanents in play that don't impact the board. No, I'm half kidding. So I have Lauren to get back an artifact, so that's why I definitely want to discard this artifact. Plus, this is like a late-game stalemate breaker, or, you know, at some spots it can let your small creatures attack their bigger ones, but obviously it's not a good turn 2 play. And now I got to play the Welcome first, so I'm going to fall a little behind, but draw a card, draw a card, draw a card when this trades, so after that, it's going to be tough for them. But they've got a nice aggressive start on the play, so we'll see if they're going to be able to ride it to victory, or if my card advantage will come through. Okay, so here, lay down arms, I'm 1 planes away from taking things out. So my choices are play Lauren, get back Sigil, which I don't even particularly want. Or infantry, draw a card, which, even though it's only using 3 mana and not 4, it's awesome because if they attack and I block with the infantry and it dies, I get the 1/1, and I draw another card. So that will help me find another planes for laydown arms, which I really want to swing this game. Plus, I just don't want to fall behind, and this is great. Now the 1/1 represents something that can block the Mishra here, but also I'm drawing 2 cards. If I find a planes, laydown arms is on. If not, I have other stuff to do anyway. Put out creatures, draw cards, play this command. Okay, so not excellent. I did not find the planes. I think what I'm going to do here is play the Mutt, draw a card, so I'll get 2 cards, 1 from the Welcome, and then I can rummage. And then I still have command for 1-up, so I can just take care of this Mishra with that. Because, you know, look, they're on 2 cards. I'm on 8, plus I have Welcome and a million cards that draw a card. So if I don't die, I'm going to win. I have complete inevitability. Now, I don't really want to use the command because this can kill something big, but I can also just throw 2, 3, 4 cards at something big if I need to. So what I really don't want is to get run over. I guess that said, I could pass the turn and flash in Paratrooper. Maybe that's better. Okay, what am I going to discard? I'm going to discard... Well, I can also just play land and Thopter here. I don't know, I have a lot of options. I have a lot of cards in hand. And I do kind of want to trade off one of these artifacts to get it back with Loran. Like I said, I don't need Sigil. And I kind of want to hold command for a big creature. So I don't think I'm going to discard or use command on the 4-1. I can take some trample. I'm at 10. I'm going to have fine blocks for both their creatures. I think if I get a plains, that would be ideal. I would happily lay down arms on this Mishra. Because that doesn't kill big creatures. But for now, I don't want to discard the mountain. I want to make my land drops. I don't know what to discard. I kind of want all these cards. I don't want to discard the Rummage Machine. I think I want to play Paratrooper because I can play that on their turn. So I think I can discard the Thopter and then just get it back with Loran. If I knew I was going to draw another mountain, I would have discarded the mountain, of course. But I didn't want to miss my land drop if I didn't draw a mountain. And you can only draw one card a turn with Welcome, but you can get a card on your turn and a card on their turn. So that's why I'm electing to play the 2-drop here instead of one of the 3-drops, because I get an extra card off Welcome that way. Okay, so maybe they just want to deal me 3 and draw a card. Maybe they have a trick. In this case, either way, double blocking, it's not really going to accomplish anything. The tricks are +2/+0 in first strike, and +1/+1 in indestructible. And obviously, I don't care about going to 7 or 6. I don't want to get low, but I don't want to be in burnout range from like the deal 3s or the deal 5 to a creature, and this controller takes 2. But we're talking about 7 or 6, so I'm obviously going to put the 1/1 token and not like a 1/2 in front of it. Okay, so what now? Can play Cohort and draw a card, but then I'm not using the other 2 mana. But it gives me good blocks. It's probably just the right play. I want to be mana efficient, but it's more important that I just clog up this board. I can't really attack. This has reach. I don't want to use command on a 3/3. I can just throw a 3/1 in front of it. So we're just chilling for now. When I hit 8, I'll play this as a 5/5. That's my actual win con. That's something I'll actually use command on, a 6/5 creature. And they're down to 1 card in hand. It's kind of a weird attack. I know they want to try and get in damage and clear the way. I don't know if that means they have some way to get it back or something. I don't know why they want to trade their 3/3 for my 3/1 that comes back from the dead. It wasn't like a horrible trade, but it definitely wasn't like good. Okay, so now I'm going to kill both their creatures and deal them a ton of damage. I know they have a ton of life, but lay down arms, there's no reason to save. It can only kill things that have, 4 or less, 5 if I draw another one. This can deal exactly 5 and give +5/+0. I don't have any real reason here, I think, to save it. Now, I'm going to make a play that's a little bit weird, but there's that red common Blitz Automaton. It could be a 6/5 haste or a 5/4 haste or whatever when you cast it for 7. I don't want to take a hit like that and then get burnt out. So I'm going to hold on tap just the 1/1 as a chump blocker in case they have something like that. So I can miss 1 point of damage to make sure they don't play that big haste creature and put me really low, right? So I'm just going to hold the 1/1 back as a chump blocker in case they have Blitz Automaton. Of course, they probably don't, but it's 1 point of damage. Okay, so here, what do I want to do? Loran and Scrapbook Cohort looks like a pretty good turn. Get the card when I play the 1/1 from the 1/1 token coming into play. Play the 5/5, but they have this 2/3 out, which obviously I can kill, but not really yet. This seems like it's a really good, smooth, efficient turn. I could try attacking with the Mutt in the hopes that they would not block, but if they did block and I had to pump with the Paratrooper, then my turn would be a lot weaker. I could spend 3 playing like one of these, but that's nowhere near as good of a turn. I'm setting up to be able to attack. Both of these can profitably attack into the 2/3. Then I can, like, blast away the 2/3. Oh, that's big. I hope they don't have a way to give it trample. So I can't throw something at it anymore and deal it 8. So it looks like maybe I just play the 5/5 Dragon Engine now and they can start attacking with that. If they block, I can pump it a few times. I mean, I do want to start swarming them, but I don't know. I can't really attack into that right now. Even if I, like, let 3 hit it and then throw something at it, I can't finish it off, and they could have a trick. So I think this is just play the 8/8. I'm not getting a card. I'm kind of taking a turn off. But if they attack with it, I'll throw all my little ground stuff at it. And then even if they have a trick, I don't really care. I just want to not die. You know, this will come back. I'll draw more cards. These little ground creatures aren't doing anything. And now the 5/5 can start attacking. And if I trade with the Recluse, that's great for me. And if they're taking it, then they're taking a substantial amount of damage. I probably won't pump if they take it. I'll just play something, pass, play something. But nonetheless, it's still pretty great for me. Like, they're either taking hard hits and they'll fall in range pretty quick to the alpha, or I'm getting a positive trade. I guess I could play Juggernaut, give it haste. Oh, no, I only have 3 left. I would need 4 left so that I could then finish off the 7/8 with Blast. Even though that looks like losing a lot of cards, I'm worried about there's 2 different common tricks, Whirling Strike and, like, Gaia's, whatever it's called, that both give trample. So I'm kind of worried about, like, accidentally dying to a giant creature. So I would happily do something like play Blast, sacking Cohort or Loran, and lose Juggernaut to kill this Recluse. But I'm a mana short of that. So for now, I'm just going to attack with the Dragon Engine. If they block, I'll do some pumping. If they take it, I'm just going to pass the turn. And then I can play Battlethopter, draw a card, Juggernaut, pumping the Battlethopter. This gives flash to all my colorless cards. I could draw 2 cards if I played, like, Cohort now or something like that, but I'm not worried about a card at this point in the game, and Juggernaut is something that can attack next turn, you know, into the Recluse, and then I can potentially finish it off with Blast. Okay, so can I do anything about this? That's going to 10 toughness, so 5 pumps work. I only have 4. What I can do, potentially, is pump it a couple times and then Blast. So it's going to go to 10 toughness. So if I pump this twice, it goes to 7. And then I still have 4 for Blast. So then I can sack Cohort and finish off the Recluse. So I like that. Otherwise, I'm a mana short, right? This is going to be a less efficient way to pump. So I can't sack it because I need it to deal its 7 in this fight. But this is going to 10 toughness. I don't want them to play a Forest after this. They're probably not holding one, but they could be. So let me respond here. Because I'm dealing at exactly 10. 7 from the fight and 3 from this Blast. So, and they have Blanchwood armor out, which is, it gets +1/+1 whenever they play a Forest. And they get priority back after the Epic Confrontation resolves. So imagine I let this resolve. I pump twice, let it take 7 and resolve, and they just play Forest. Then this would be out of Blast range. So I don't want to risk that. So that's why I blasted it in response, not let the Confrontation resolve first. I don't think they have a Forest to play, but they could. Who knows what this last card is. I think if it was a Forest, they would have played it first, but I don't think that's worth the risk. Okay, so now I just need to have blockers up, but I can profitably attack. If I have 5 up, I can attack with a Mutt. Remember, this sacks to give haste. So do I want to do, like, Cohort, sack, give haste, play land? Then I can attack with, like, Cohort, Loran, Trooper, and Mutt. That's fine, but I think I'm more interested in just, like, playing more things now. So I'll probably just hold off on the haste. Next turn, I can play, like, double Cohort and sack the Reunion and give them both haste. This turn, I'm just going to attack with these. If they block, pumping isn't a great use of 5 mana, but I'm okay with it. If they take it, now the plan is just end of turn, Liberator, Juggernaut. That was the plan last turn, but then I got a better option, I think, with being able to kill the 7/8, which is... I was really afraid of that card, plus one of the common trample tricks as a way they could, like, potentially sneak in lethal or force me into really bad blocks. Okay, another hand that's not amazing on the surface, but I can't possibly mulligan. I'm one land away from welcome, and then we've got the mutt, so we have a lot of ways to find it. Okay, that's good. So now what do? I don't even want to discard any of these, right? Lay down arms, I mean, doesn't kill anything big. I can't discard a land. I have turn 3 welcome, and then after that, I can draw more cards. Maybe I just don't play anything. I mean, I hate not adding to the board and not using my mana, but on turn 4, if I draw a land, I get to go Mud on my turn, draw a card, Paratrooper on their turn and draw a card. So I'm not playing the 2-drop to potentially draw a card. That said, now that they put out a 3-1, I'm going to play the 2-drop, right? Because this blocks that, and I don't want to fall behind when I'm going to win the game with card advantage off welcome. But if they didn't play a 2-mana 3-1, I wouldn't have flashed this in. I would have just untapped, drawn, and played the welcome. I flashed it in because now it's a blocker for the honor guard. And that's fine. Like, I'm going to take a hit for 4, but they're not adding to the board, right? I mean, they spent their mana killing my 2-drop. And now we can start drawing cards. Easy choice. Use all 3 mana. The double spell for 2 cards thing only works with the Paratrooper because it has flash. So it's not like I was worried about 2-drop, draw land, 2-drop. I can just play these one at a time on different turns and get a card off each one. So the plan now, lay down arms on something I can't block. Throw my creatures at theirs. Draw cards. Obviously, I'll trade the infantry for the honor guard if they attack with it. I'm not going to trump the survivor just to get a card. I can take one. And this is going really well for me. So far, they're just casting little ground creatures. And I'll happily trade, and on all my cards draw a card. So again, we're just trying to win this game like last game on the strength of Tokasia's welcome, really. There's no reason to lay down arms. I have another planes, and these both draw cards when they come into play. So, like, I can lay down arms something big. I don't need to lay down arms a 1-1. I'll take a poke for 1. Soon I'm going to play a 2 toughness creature. Although, maybe not this soon. But because Cohort is going to leave me a 1-1 token to block these with, and I'll happily trade the 3-1. So now I think what I'm going to do is attack with both of these. I don't need them to block because Cohort's going to give me 2 blockers. That's a smart trade by them in the sense that I could have drawn a card anyway by playing one, so trading on their turn with the infantry gives me an extra card. It doesn't mean the attack was bad, though. All in all, I want to start attacking. Well, actually, the Thopter could get in the air anyway, so maybe it wasn't a great attack. To be honest, I thought they were going to take it. But that was a smart trade by them. And maybe they have some, like, you know, Golem or some 7-mana prototype or something. And they basically denied me a card because I could have played the Cohort and gotten a card. I shouldn't have attacked with the infantry. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't right. I honestly didn't think they'd make that block. That was a good block by them. Credit where it's due. Frito Odis. Okay, so now I can double block. If they have a trick, who cares? I don't care about these 1-1s. If they don't, it's an even-ish trade. I'm just trying not to take damage. I know they're going to get the Scry, but it was going to happen sooner or later unless I lay down arms or prison sentence it, and I don't want to do that. I want to save these for big creatures. This still draws a card, this draws a card and rummages. Like, I've got an unlimited supply of magic cards here. So for this turn, I'm happy to rummage away a mountain. So let's go with the mutt while we have something to rummage away. I prefer to rummage mountain to plains because I have laydown arms. And then I'm just going to attack with the flyer. Actually, this frontliner is kind of annoying. If they pump this engineer, I could like double block it, which is not terrible, but it's not great. And I have prison sentence for a big creature, so I think I'm going to lay down arms. Do I hit the engineer or the frontliner? I think it's the frontliner. It's actually pretty annoying right now. And it comes back. I know I didn't need to do that, but I've still got command and prison sentence to kill big things. They have 1 card in hand, and that would have made combat pretty annoying right now. Two to the top, 0 to the bottom. That's a little scary. All right, my 1-1 stopping their 3-1, so I'm obviously not going to chump block. So I'm going to play Vanguard. If I draw land, I can play Juggernaut. If I draw a non-land, we'll see what it is. I'm definitely waiting for 8 for this engine since I'm on 6 now. That's good. And we'll see what they got. I know they scried 2 to the top, so that's kind of scary. I mean, I've got Command, Prison Sentence, and a 5/5 Flying Pumper in hand. So that makes a lot of sense. Now all of their creatures are flying threats when I have the ground pretty locked up. But I've got the Thopter and the Dragon Engine, so I'm not that scared. So I think... I mean, they're not even that far from being dead. Like, if they don't have anything, I can command for 7. Kill the Engineer and plus 7. 12, 5 plus 7 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. So I actually have 17. So if the card in their hand is not a trick or removal, they're dead on board. Do I go for it? Yeah, sure. I mean, if they have a trick to not be dead, it's not like I'm dying. I'm not 100... No, that can't be right. I can just Prison Sentence the Engineer, attack them for a bunch, and play the Dragon Engine as a 1/3, and then I'll kill them next turn with the command, right? There's no reason. It would be way too risky, I think. I mean, I don't think it's actually risky. Like, if they have a trick to stay alive, how are they going to kill me on the backswing when I have a bunch of blockers and they have to use their trick? But, like, also, like, this is even safer, and I'm just winning by so much. Like, remember, it's not like I died to a pump spell. I have removal. Like, I mean, I have a flying blocker. I have Thopter. I had Dragon Engine. I have 2 flying blockers. Like, I don't die to removal. I don't die to pump spells. Like, there's just no way they can win. The Mishra's play would have worked, too, almost certainly. But if they did, like, some sort of a trick that then allowed them to attack and trample for the win or something, I would feel ridiculous. I don't think it's possible, but, I mean, they weren't going to draw, like, a sweeper. And even if they did, all my creatures come back, and I have Tokasia's Welcome. It's weird, right? It's like I'm playing a white-red aggro sometimes, but then Tokasia's Welcome turns me into a control deck, because it gives me, like, such good inevitability, right? Like, when I draw Tokasia's Welcome, I'm no longer the aggro deck. Now I can just draw 2 cards a turn. And actually with Flash and everything, I have the infantries that make creatures on their turn. I have 2 Flash creatures. So I'm drawing, like... I mean, I'll call it 2 cards a turn, because there might be a turn I can't draw a card. But with all the cohorts and everything, I mean, I'm drawing 2 cards a turn pretty much indefinitely if I play an early Welcome. And if you draw 2 cards a turn, every turn for the rest of the game, it does not matter if your opponent has more powerful cards than you. You have better total stuff, because you're drawing 2 cards a turn. So... it's like sometimes I'm kind of a grindy red-white aggro. Other times, I'm like a red-white control based around Tokasia's Welcome, which is fine. Like, you know, that card is so busted. Like, you just draw 2 cards a turn at no cost. It's not like I have to pay 3 mana or pay any mana when my creatures come into play. I just draw cards for the rest of the game every turn. 3 mana once to draw 2 cards a turn for the rest of the game is totally busted. I had another fine hand. I mean, it's a little slow on the draw, but if their 2-drop has 1 toughness, I can kill it. The Dragon Engine's a 3-drop, not an 8-drop. So, this hand is, of course, a keep, and then hopefully I won't get run over. Well, that's a 1 toughness creature, but I can't kill it because of Silly Ward. Not a good start to the not getting run over plan. But I did draw lands, and now I have 3-drop, 4-drop, etc. Oh, I have to play the red to play the 3-drop. I've been playing all planes because of laydown arms, but I want to play this Dragon Engine here. Not exciting, but it trades with the Honor Guard, and that's what I need to do. As usual, I look like red-white aggro, but I'm actually red-white control. But this game is going to be a little more hard to win because I don't have Welcome. But I'm on the draw, and I do have a good handful of spells, so I can't let myself get run over. Just keep trading down. The Juggernaut could win the game. I mean, it does deal a lot of damage. They might be able to trade with it, but they might not. And I definitely want to use laydown arms on a turn where I can double spell. I'm not against using laydown arms on one of these 3/2s or something. Right now it can kill only up to 3 drops. Maybe I'll draw like 1 more plains. But I have the command to rummage away extra lands past 5. The thing is, though, this card for 4 mana trades with one of these, and this card for 1 mana trades with one of those. So I wanted to use the 4 mana card, not the 1 mana card. I guess I could have considered commanding for 2. And then I could have double spelled to clear the board and stabilize. I did have 2 mountains to rummage away, but I wasn't dying to command a 3/2 no ability, basically. But they are kind of running me over. Maybe I should have done that. I definitely should have thought about it, but I don't necessarily think it would have been correct. So now I pretty much have to do that. I can't play just Juggernaut. So I have to double spell. So given I'm on the defensive, I probably want to command away the Juggernaut. So this is probably command for 3, discarding 2 mountains in Juggernaut, and then lay down arms. Which, you know, this isn't horrible. I get a bunch of new cards, kill 2 of their 3 creatures. Obviously, you know, I didn't expect them to keep curving, and double spelling, but they still have to have more, or I'm in good shape. If they play, like, Mightstone's Animation on the Power Stone, I'm dead, so that sucks. But there's no real way around that at this point. So I guess X damage to a creature, and I'll rummage for 3. Definitely discarding the 2 mountains. The Juggernaut's somewhat close, but I think it's right to discard it. I also just kind of want cheaper spells to be able to potentially double spell next turn. So hopefully I don't have Mightstone's Animation, because that's exactly 7 and I lose. If they hit me for 3 and pass, again, if I draw a land, I can double spell. I mean, this game's far from over if I do that. So I do have to play the Liberator first, so I can grow it with the infantry, but that's okay. And it only gives flash to the colorless cards, so I can't pass or anything. I have to play the infantry now. I know the Liberator had flash, but if I play the infantry and pass and bring it in, it's a 1/2 and it can't block one of the 3/2s. And I need to block these 3/2s. Even though this Liberator isn't a great trade for an Opportunist, this isn't really a choice. I'm at 4. Do I want to bring this out to hit them for 5? I'm never going to have 10 mana to throw this at them. I already rummaged away 2 lands. Is there anything else useful I can do with it? It doesn't trigger welcome. Doesn't really seem so. So I guess I might as well do it now. I don't even want to play the land. My 8-drop's already in my yard, and I still have Mutt and Mishra in my deck, and Bitter Reunion. So I definitely want to hold 1 land to rummage away. So hopefully I'll find stuff before them. I mean, I rummaged away 2 lands. It's other creature, right? I'm going to end up playing it post-combat and equipping it. But no reason to do it pre-combat, because it doesn't even add more damage. I mean, I have plenty of good draws. Like, I'm an underdog in this game because I'm at 4. But if I draw, like, Mishra, Mutt, Loran, even just any of my Scrapwork cohorts, which I have 3 of and I haven't seen one of yet. Okay, so I already got rid of the card that rummages a lot of lands. I mean, I could draw Mishra, I guess, but I think I'm going to play 1 more land here. What are they doing? I don't think they want to interact with my 1/1. Because I have Blast, so, like, I might play, like, a 4-drop and then have Blast up, so I don't really want to hold more than 1 land right now. I could definitely get punished for this by not having something better to rummage, but I could also get rewarded if they go to, like, kill my 4-drop or whatever, and I'm able to sack it to Blast. This game's going kind of weird. Speaking of. Also, the blue counters counter unless they pay for the common, so I'm definitely playing land here. So that if they have the counter, I can pay for it, and if they have an answer to Scrapwork Cohort, I can blast it. Blast with it, I should say. Also, if they just like flashed in rock or something, I would sack to blast it. I would sack the 1/1 that grew, not the cohort, but I would sack. Well, that's a problem. I don't know if I have any outs to that or not. I guess I might as well blast now and find out. That's what they were waiting on. I mean, it's not like I could have played more aggressively. The only thing I could have done differently to win this game would be not rummaged away the Juggernaut. That did cost me the game, but I thought I was going to need a lot of ammo. I didn't know this was going to go into hard stalemate mode. But I didn't draft those disenchants, so I don't really see how I can win this game from here. I don't think I have a way to beat the portal. Kind of a sad loss. I thought I was winning. But it's not like I was trying to lollygag. But maybe I shouldn't have rummaged away the Juggernaut, since that was a good win con after I turned the game. I'm not sure on that one. In retrospect, it cost me the game. But, of course, like, turning away something that has to attack and can't block into a card that could interact with them could also have won me the game if they had different cards, if they had more ammo. I'll probably concede next turn. Like, I'm not, like, chump block and live forever. Like, I don't know how I could... I can't win, right? There are cards to get rid of that, but I don't think I have them. Like Stasis Net or whatever. And Disenchant, which I didn't get any of. That was a sad loss. I feel like that was a very winnable game. Both of my games that I lost, I'm 2-2. Both losses were really winnable games. They were like... I mean, game one, I don't think I had any strategic decisions to do differently. You know, the one where the black-white kind of grinded me out. Where I had the decision on the Thraxodemon and the Blast, which I think I made correctly. That game, it feels so weird. Like, throwing away a 5-3, it's a good win con, but I'm drawing 3 new cards, and my back was to the wall. It kind of felt like I just wanted cheaper cards and things to trade off. I mean, I don't know. I'm really not sure on the Juggernaut discard it to the command or not line. Maybe I'm just supposed to command for 2 the turn before, discard the lands, double spell that turn. I feel like I messed that up, but it might be hindsight. The plays didn't seem wrong at the time. They turned out to be wrong after the opponent didn't have any more ammo. Then I flooded a little. Then they beat me with a 9-mana win the game card 18 turns later. So I'll happily bolt that, but first I want to add to the board. I'm not worried about Thraxodemon. Like, what are they going to leave their mana up every turn forever and not cast things? So, mill 4 could have some value, but obviously the 1-4 is stopping my team, and that's much more of a concern. So let's bolt the 1-4. It's cool that it exiles and they wouldn't get to mill, but, like, again, that's just not as big of a concern. Even though they could attack for 6 back, I'm attacking first. Plus I have Blast and Command, which are pretty aggressive cards. So I'm happy to race. And any trade they make here is pretty good for me. This leaves a 1-1 now. This comes back. I also want them to trade with the cohort so I can lure in it, potentially. The only downside here was I only used 2 mana, but I couldn't use 4. I guess I could have blasted one of their creatures, but I didn't really want to do that. Attack and trade with them was better. Didn't have an artifact yet to lure in. So I could have used 3 and played Thopter, but I had to get rid of the 1-4 to be able to attack. It was completely stopping my team. Okay, so the downside, I'm a mana short of commanding that. I would command it, of course, if I could. They're going to be able to start drawing cards. That's not good. But I can't do anything about that. So I guess I just have to be prepared to try and race. I hate that my opponent's drawing 2 cards a turn. You know, there's nothing I hate more than when other people are drawing cards. But I don't really have any options this turn. Oh, you know what? I screwed up. Why am I playing so sloppy today? I should have attacked with the 2/1/1s. They would probably not block, so all I did was miss 2 damage. Well, actually, and now I have a triple block on the Courser. So, I don't know. One line that I definitely should have considered is attack with the 2/1/1s, because if they block, then I could command it for 4. And even though it's not a great command, because I don't really even have stuff to rummage away, I would happily do it. But triple blocking here might be better. I mean, I get messed up by a trick or removal, but I don't really care about these little creatures. And they're attacking to get the card, I think, whether they have the trick or not. So I think this is probably the right line. It's not as risky as it looks, because I think they make that attack, since it's an evenish trade and they get their card either way. And my hand does a lot, so I don't mind, flipping the game back to kind of a grind. All right, obviously, if they want to sack to get in 3, I'm cool with that. And Cohort clogs up the board nicely, so this turn is an easy Cohort and pass. I'm at 20. I'll happily trade with the Killzone Acrobat, but it's not like it's a 3-power flyer. They want to start sacking stuff. Even if it's an Unearth thing or whatever, fine, I'll take 3 once. I'll take 3 twice. What I want to do is start casting my Cohorts and attacking them. And then hopefully we get a turn where I can, command for 4 or 5, killing their blocker and pumping one of mine, and then I'll just deal them, 12 that turn. Command does a lot of damage sometimes when you remove their blocker and pump your creature. Okay, that's an unearthed creature, so no reason to block. So this turn is going to be attack with Cohort and play Cohort unless I draw something really surprising. No great targets for the command yet. The Cohort's a profitable attack. Even if they trade the 1/1 with it, I'm cool with that. They don't have very many creatures. It comes back, makes another 1/1. And pretty soon, I have so many little creatures out, I'll just slap Sigil on something, equip it, and attack. What'll probably happen is I'll put it on the Cohort because I don't really need it to block. Actually, if it wasn't for Sigil, I would happily just double block Acrobat with 2/1/1s, of course. But I don't want to really be double and triple blocking now that I have Sigil. So maybe I put it on a 1/1 and miss 2 damage, but then I keep the Cohort up to block. And then I can play Thopter, and then I can start putting it on the Thopter and hitting them for 1,000,000 in the air. This is going to be a tough game for the win. They can win if they have, a broken rare or something, but I don't think I'm very likely to lose this game to commons and uncommons. They'd have to have, Titiana's Command or something. So I think that's the plan. If I play the Thopter and Sigil a 1/1 and attack, I have 4 other creatures, so I'm attacking with a 5/5. And then, of course, if they trade with it, that's great for me, because it's actually a 1/1. If they take it, cool. And then on D, I can just, make a triple block or something on the 4/5. Maybe, again, I don't really want to throw away all my creatures. I don't mind a double or a triple. I have so many creatures, the Cohort's going to make another one and everything. But I think I don't need the flyer. The win in the air thing sounds cool because they have all ground creatures. But I can just attack on the ground. What are they going to do? Double block my 1/1 tokens that are turning into 5/5s? This is a game where Sigil's going to win the game. So I think, actually, if they attack with the Stalker, I'll probably just block with Cohort and Thopter. And I'll just keep attacking on the ground with a 1/1 that's Sigiled every turn. That's the thing. It's not they can't really trade with these creatures, the Sigiled creature, because it's really just a 1/1, so they'd be trading way down. Like I said, this is a really hard game for me to lose. Outside of, really busted cards, just a ridiculously powerful set of plays. I mean, they're not going to win this game with removal spells, with fine common creatures. Obviously, I'm not saying they can't win. They might win this game with, Gix's Command or Titiana's Command. Those 2 cards can win games from any position. Or, my opponent won the last game with the Portal. That's, a card that can always steal a game. But on board, I'm looking really good. So Lay Down Arms is for 2, so that's not even on. look like I can do much this turn. Also, I don't need to. I think we just want to bring back Cohort. I'll move Sigil there because it's a bigger attacker. Then deal him a bunch of damage, get another creature in play. If they want to chump the Unearthed creature, great. If not, they're taking, like, 8 or whatever, 7. Eight plus 5. Lost my ability to count in my old age. So they're probably thinking about blocking with the spider, because then they'll gain, like, 7. That's fine. It's, they're going to gain that 7 off the spider unless I'm able to exile it, which I'm 2 planes away from doing. And really, like I said, I'm hitting so hard every turn. Like, sure. Like, they saved the damage. Cool. I'm not saying the play was wrong. It was fine. Just, like, kind of irrelevant to me. So, do I want to wait for 8 mana? Nah. I'll just be able to start... I'm actually just going to start hitting them in the air now, I think. Oh, they have the spider, so that's not as exciting as it looks. But I can always Mishra's Command the spider. So I think for now, I'm just going to start attacking in the air. Make them either trade off the spider, or I might kill them very quickly in the air. I'm not sure if... well, actually showing the Dragon Engine, not only does it do 1 extra damage, because, it's pumping the Sigil, that's the reason I played it pre-combat, but it also makes them less likely to block with the Spider, because now they want it as a blocker for the Dragon Engine, and I don't mind that, because I have the Command. Now, Command doesn't exile, so they're going to get their 7 life here, but I can still command it for 4, pump the Dragon Engine for 4, and Sigil the Dragon Engine. I don't think it's lethal this turn, but it's a lot of damage, and I'm pretty happy with that. And then the blast might put them in lethal range. Oh, wait, you know what? I can just lethal them. I can just Sigil on the 1/1, attack, and throw it at them. And unless they have a way to sack the spider, they'll be dead. So that seems good. I don't mind going for the lethal here in this spot. The blast is not important to me. So, I'm going to attack with that. Has to be just the 1 creature for Sigil to work. Might as well let them block in case they want to chump with something other than the spider, since the spider's stopping the Dragon Engine. I guess I'm sacking that creature, so I don't know how it could matter, but... yeah, I should just throw them at them. Not because this is wrong, like, this doesn't hurt my chances of winning. It's EV neutral here. Just making them think about what to block with for no reason. Because I'm... oh, no, that's not true. No, if they chump with, like, a 2/2, I'll let it die before blasting them. So this does have value. Now, if they double block, I can't do that. Even though this is a great trade, if I want to go for the win, I still have to blast now. But if they had, like, chump blocked with, like, a 2/2, I could kill it, and then post-combat I would throw that 6/6 at them. So that was actually the right play, I think. And if whatever they blocked with, if they blocked with, like, spider, I was going to throw the 6/6 at them. If they blocked in a way that they could kill it like they did, I'd throw the 6/6 at them. But if they chumped it with just the Branchwood Prowler or whatever that thing's called, the 2/2, then I would kill the 2/2, which has value, and then post-combat throw it at them. Because they weren't, like, 100% dead there. If they have a way to, like, sack their spider and gain 7, they can stay alive. Obviously, I wasn't worried about that. Like, I threw away a 1/1, and the spider would be dying, and they'd have to, like, kill their own spider or something like that. Not unthinkable, but fine for me. But yeah, so attacking like that gives them the ability to chump with the 2/2 and lets me kill an extra creature potentially if they can gain life there. With a spider in play is definitely not that unlikely. Okay, pretty good hand. I mean, I don't have Welcome, but we can play Mutt, hopefully find a land, and then probably discard Thopter Architect here. Given I only have 2 lands and it costs 4. I know I could find lands off the prison sentence, but like I said, Thopter Architect's kind of mediocre. It's a way to break stalemates. I have like 3 cohorts, a lot of artifacts, a lot of unearthed artifacts, but I'm not like trying to have to draw 2 lands straight to cast that. Instead, we'll just curve out. Now we can go like Trooper and Bolt, prison sentence, scry away more lands. Maybe we can actually win a game as an aggro deck. Hey, that's a good card to Bolt. Exile. I mean, they don't have anything to get back right now, So now that I drew Cohort, I'm actually not going to kill it. I was going to bolt it just to use all my mana. It's a good target. But now, like, it's not getting anything back. They probably have a way to recur it, but that's fine. They were going to recur something at any point anyway, and I could always bolt it. Anyways, the point is using your mana is the most important thing. So if I didn't top deck Cohort, I would have went Bolt and Paratrooper into their turn. Since I did, I'll just add my 4-drop to the board, and I can use Bolt later. And trading off Mud is almost a positive. The next time I draw a land, I'll bring back Mud and rummage it away. And even if they, like, recur that, okay, I'll just Bolt it then. The recursion wouldn't have been able to recur that if I bolted it, but it would have gotten back something else anyway. As a general heuristic, I'm sure most of you know, like, you want to play your creatures before your removal, because removal can always do more. Speaking of which, this looks like a good turn to Mutt and Bolt. I still have Prison Sentence for something big. Just getting in all the damage, clearing the blockers. Life is good. I'm going to play the land. I'm not worried about them making me discard. I know I have the ways to rummage, but at this point, I'm trying to curve out, spend my mana. And we're going to Prison Sentence that, and that should pretty much be game. I know it's 6, not 8 right now, but I don't know how they're going to stabilize here. Okay, those look like fine spells to me. Take the Sigil first. And even if they had a sweeper, we have Paratrooper end of turn. We could pump, that's 2. We could bring the Thopter back. We can bring the Cohort back. I don't think anything is going to work. I don't think Gix's command works. I don't think -1/-1 all my creatures. I mean, we'll kill the creatures in play, but then flash and bring back. I think they're just dead. So we're up to 4-2, not bad. Both of those games that I lost were so winnable. I mean, like I said, I don't think I did anything wrong against the black-white. It just felt like, you know, one that I kind of slipped through my fingers, but not because of play. The other one I do think I maybe should have won, but I don't know. It's so tough. Like, really, that discard the Juggernaut or not is still just, like, racking my brain. Because, like, it's like, you know, yeah, it's a fine win condition, 5 a turn if I stabilize. But also, I'm drawing 3 more cards. I want to be able to double spell next turn. I'm a little behind. Like, I mean, do I really need the 5/3 as a win con? Is that, like, really where I'm at in that game? Or do I just want to, like, you know, draw things that can block or kill creatures, turn the game, and then win with whatever? I mean, it's not like I can anticipate they're going to play Portal there. Blue lock? Blue is my favorite color in Magic. Despite it being the worst color in this draft format. Hey, we've got the turn 3 welcome. I like that. Again, we're going to have to decide whether to play the Mutt turn 2 or not. See, if they don't play anything, I probably won't. I don't really have anything I particularly want to rummage away. And it represents a card. So while I might fall a little further behind, and you never want to do that when you're winning the game by drawing cards, I mean, I'm gaining an extra card for doing it. So now, what are my choices? I can play Mutt and get a card, and rummage away a mountain, and then Trooper on their turn. That looks really good, because I want to trade the Trooper for the 2/1. I probably want to lay down arms the Recruitment Officer, though. I'm not worried that they're going to untap and activate it now, but I could use all my mana very productively with Thopter and lay down arms. And I do want to lay down arms the Recruitment Officer. I have 2 flyers for the Locust, so I'm not worried about that. So I think this is actually the right line. I'm the one who gets to draw cards. And activating that means they're drawing creatures every turn. I don't want that. And it's not like Lay Down Arms kills bomb rares and big creatures, so I don't mind using it. Okay, so for now, just play the 5-drop. I know I'm not getting a card, but it blocks their 4/5. And then next turn, I can play Cohort and Paratrooper. And when I say it blocks their 4/5, they probably won't attack, but it still stops it from attacking and then starts hitting for 5 a turn. If they don't have something to do like that. And like next turn, I can block it with the Thopter and the Cohort, so that's fine. It's not really a problem. And we get our card off Welcome, and then we get a card on their turn when we play Paratrooper. This Tokasi is Welcome. This is a magic card right there. Turn your white weenie aggro deck into the control deck by giving you 2 cards a turn the entire game. Very ridiculous. And if they have something, they have something. I'm going to have endless ammo to throw at their stuff. The only thing I don't love is that I'm putting a flyer on it, but I don't really mind. I have the Paratrooper. I'm still at 14. The Locust doesn't really scare me. Ooh, they did have a disenchant for the Welcome, so I don't have endless cards forever. Good for them. So, I'm pretty close to playing that as a 5/5, 1 land away if I play the land. But I also kind of want to rummage away the land now that the Welcome's gone and I don't just have endless cards. And I have a Mutt to rummage away the land, to rummage away lands too. So I think I'm going to play it as a 1/3, right? This turn feels like play the 2/1 and just attack with all my creatures. Because if they trade with the flyer, I'm cool with that, and they're probably not going to. And then I can play the Dragon Engine as a 1/3, which stops both their creatures. And, like, I'm not worried about the rummage ability, because I already have the Mutt to rummage too. It is true that I'm probably going to use it, but it's not like a big concern of mine right now. I want to put myself in a position to race the Flyers. I don't want to accidentally lose this game since they have Levitating Statue and Locust and Statue Grows, because I didn't play aggressive enough and then I lost a race to some small Flyers. Okay, so now I don't want to trade Mishra for Rager. I don't really want to trade on the ground. So this looks like I can go Mutt, Rummage the Mountain, attack with Scrapwork Cohort. If they want to trade that with Rager, I don't care. It has an Earth. And then, okay, so one line is Scrapwork Cohort, and then attack on the ground with, or attack with just the Cohort. Maybe send the Dragon Engine too, because I have the Trooper to trade with the Locust. And then I could play the Mutt and Rummage. That uses 5 of my mana. It leaves me Mishra up. Though depending on what I draw, if I draw a land, I'll rummage it away. If I draw a spell, I probably won't want to. Another line is Thopter. Attack for 2 with that. And then I can just throw the Thopter at the Locust, which I kind of like. I'll attack with, if I do that, I'll attack with the Dragon Engine as well. Probably not the Trooper, because I don't want them to trade. But I like that line because, well, I can do that later. It gets me a card off the Blast now, but I might do more damage with the Blast later. So I think I can do that later. So the thing about that line that's good is it gets me the card off the Blast now so that I can, see what I'm going to draw next and cycle through that. But the thing that I don't like about that line is I'm not using a Rummage now, and I think there's probably more value in rummaging because the Blast, I can always blast the Thopter later. Well, I wasn't expecting this. Oh, they're going to play the +1/+0. They just really wanted to block my ground creature that was not coming back. That was a weird block. I gotta be honest. I'm not sure what their reasoning for that is. Maybe they have recursion or something, but that just seems bad, frankly. That was unearthed. It wasn't. It was leaving play anyway. Okay, so that's their reason. It's to bring something back, but that makes it make some sense. And then they can also get rid of the Thopter, so now I don't have that to throw with the Blast. So, see, you think somebody's play is bad, and then they always have reasons that make sense. The thing is, like, you could always recur something else. So they still kind of just threw it away to recur it, so it's not like a great play. Maybe it was right, maybe it wasn't, but that was the reason. Okay, well, now we're going to try and win this game with Sigil in the air. Seems pretty clear. We'll prison sentence the flyer because I'm not really worried about saving it for anything, and they're on like a 2-turn clock. Because next turn I can throw whatever I Sigil at them. So like now I just want to deal them a million damage. Sigil really overperforming here. It might have cost me game 1, that really close game, where if it was like any creature I would have won. But it's also won me a couple games here. I'm not saying I couldn't have won this game without Sigil, or last game, but it did a lot of work. Because, like, even if they have removal, they have to remove Sigil. If they remove the Dragon Engine, I'll just move it over to Paratrooper. If they chump, okay. I think they're pretty much just dead. We're going to hit them with it, and then we'll throw it at them with the Blast, and the game's over right now. Can we have a second straight draft video where we rally? I promise this isn't, like, forced or planned. This last time I was 1-2, and then I won 6 straight. This time I was 2-2, right? I was 2-1. I lost that game 4, and then I've won 3 straight since. I don't know. You think we're going to get 7-2? Stick's good. It definitely has some ways it can draw awkwardly, and there's, like... I haven't really ran into too many of those broken rares that I keep naming, like, the commands. I've mostly been winning with Tokasia's Welcome and Sigil, it feels like. Vinkfred? Alright, not a great hand. We can put the Sigil out on turn 2. We might want to save it to rummage away with Mishra, potentially. Yeah, we have an aggressive hand. Let's put it out. Probably going to be happy to be able to equip it for 1. If I had a land-heavy hand, I might save it for the optionality to discard it. But given I have a land-light hand and a pretty aggressive hand, I probably want the ability to discard it. I mean, to equip it for 1. And here I'm going Liberator first, so it can grow when I play things. Well, that's an interesting curveball. So I have an aggressive hand that certainly I can win a race with Sigil. Or do I want to switch gears into Tokasia's Welcome? But now Liberator doesn't block either of their things, right? I mean, it's going to turn into a 2-3 when I play Welcome. It grows with any spell. Just colorless spells get Flash. But the Stone Seeker has Menace. If I block the Strongbow, they can just sack this and kill my Liberator. But next turn I have Cohort, and then the Liberator can block because it'll grow again. So I think that's probably right. So I'm taking the hit this turn. but I can try and stabilize next turn. Because the Liberator will grow to a 3/4. The Cohort will come in and give me a 3/1, a 1/1, and the Liberator will be a 3/4. I was planning to be, you know, using Sigil and Cohort and this growing and try and just race them. But now that I have Welcome, I mean, if I'm going to draw 2 cards a turn, that's a better way to try and win than trying to race Menace and sack to deal damage creatures. So the plan at the moment is most likely just pass the turn and bring in Cohort and try and block. Grow the Liberator, draw a card off the Welcome, and have 3 blockers, and see how it goes. So that's what we're going to do. Hopefully they don't have a counter. That would be a pretty big blowout. If they have, like, one instant speed removal, though, I don't think that's, like, a huge blowout. It might make their attack okay this turn. I mean, I'm going to have a 3/4, 3/1, and a 1/1. Only the Liberator flies, but the Liberator can eat the Commando, so that's pretty good. Well, this implies they have something. Like, so I'm worried it's a counter. Because, like, if I go for Cohort and they counter it, their Commando grows to a 3/3 and I have no block. If I put Liberator on Commando, are they really just sacrificing Commando to deal me 5? I mean, it'll put me to 9. So they're probably going to play something. And then I can flash in Cohort to grow. The thing is, it could be like a pump spell or something. And then I'll really regret not having double blocked that Strongbow. So I think I'm going to assume it's more likely they have Whirling Strike than a counter spell. So I'm going to go for the Cohort. Hopefully they don't have a counter spell. If they have like a cantrip or a removal spell or anything but a counter spell, this is better for me. But if they have, and it's a lot better if they have a pump spell, because I can make 2 blocks I'm happy with. And they can only win one of them with the pump spell. But if they had a counter spell, it would have been a huge blowout. Because they would counter the Cohort, the Commando would grow to a 3/3, and I would basically have no block. But this way, if they have Whirling Strike, if they Whirling Strike the Strongbow, I eat the Commando. If they Whirling Strike the Commando, I still trade with the Strongbow. So this is better against Whirling Strike. It's kind of irrelevant if they have just like some like Curate or something to grow the Commando by 1. Okay, and this was better against that, because now I still get the good block on the Strongbow that I'm happy with. So, I know the Thopter has Flash, but if I play it now, I get a card. And then a card on their turn from Trooper. But I can use it for as a Flash creature on a later turn for an extra card. So what I think I want to do is play the Mishra and attack with just that and get a card, and then pass. And then I can flash in Trooper, double block the Stoneseeker. That seems good. I'm a little nervous about their flyers, but I have Command. And they don't know I have Liberator, and Liberator allows me to double block the Stoneseeker, and I'll happily trade Paratrooper for it. I'm a little scared of removal, but there's not that much that kills Liberator. There's the Excavation, which does 3. Okay, so they must have something. So what do we do now? If it's Whirling Strike, a double block just saves a point of trample. They still kill just Liberator. It's probably what it is. Can't not block, right? I'm not going to go to 5 to play around Pump. So I think I'm just going to bring in Paratrooper, double block the Stoneseeker. I assume they're going to have Whirling Strike and take out the Liberator. Not great for me, but they're just killing the 1 card. Kind of this. Oh, no, not even the same thing. The extra point I put the Paratrooper on finishes it off, so that was really good for me. I mean, it wasn't amazing for me. You know, I lost my good card, but I end up trading with the Stoneseeker and the supply drop there, and the Paratrooper lives. That was a really good swing for me. Very grateful I double blocked there. Okay, so now, unfortunately, though, I won't get the flash off the Thopter. I do kind of want to race, though, so I think now what I want to do, I'm going to put out the Thopter so it can block the Zephyr Sentinel, because obviously they're ahead in this race. And then I'm going to put Sigil on, like, the Mishra, planning to keep attacking with that. Or is that even better than Cohort? I know I'm giving up cards, but I'm going to draw a card every turn for the rest of the game anyway. Let's say I bring in Cohort, I attack them for 6, and I leave an extra 1/1 out to make Sigil bigger next turn. Let's say I Sigil, I'm attacking for 4. Yeah, no, this is I'm being silly. I'm thinking too much about maximizing Tocasia's welcome. This game is more of a race at this point, and the Sigil's gonna give like way bigger pumps on later turns. And now I can hit them for 6, have a bunch of creatures out. I can potentially go Mishra's Command their blocker, +4/+0 to my attacker, and then Sigil the attacker and just like attack them for lethal. And I have the Thopter to block the Sentinel. This is definitely my best line. I don't know what that other card in their hand is. The Wing Commando doesn't really scare me. So they're at 10, so +5 to a blocker and +5 to one of my creatures. Let's say the Thopter dies here to remove or in combat. Then I have 2, 3, 4, +5. So that's 1 damage short. Let's say I do +4 in the Sigil. That should be about the same damage because the other creatures aren't attacking. But yeah, okay, this looks really good. So now, if I Sigil and attack, that's 4. Can I kill them? I know I have the Blast. It costs 4, though, so that only leaves me 2 mana to work with. I can go up a mana by Mishraing away the Might. Can I do something like... So I can have 7 mana. So I can command for 2, one of the blockers, and then I can blast post-combat, but I can't also Sigil. I'm 1 mana short of that. I guess if I find a land off the Mishra, I can. I haven't put a land yet. So if I command for 2, let's say pumping this 1/1 and killing one of their blockers using Mishra, then I can attack with these 2. If they don't block, they're dead to the blast. If they do block, I kill both their creatures. That looks pretty good. Okay, so discard the Mutt. Well, does that change it? I mean, I think it does. I'm not sure if I have lethal or not. I'm not actually even counting now. I'm just going to kill all their blockers and hit them for 1,000,000. Because if I kill their creatures, I don't really have to worry about dying. I'll just kill them next turn if this is short. It looks like it is. I don't think I have 10 this turn like this. But, again, what are they going to draw now? Nothing is going to deal 8 to me. And I can just blast them next turn or just attack them, whatever. I don't even think there's a card in the format now. I could have went for the win instead of using the 2 removal spells when I drew the bolt. I could have, like, let them have the blocker, and if they don't block, then I blast them post-combat. But I just don't even see a reason. Like, I don't think they had any outs, and if they did block, it would be a way worse turn. Putting them to 3 just put them in blast range and made it so they had, like, no outs, I don't think. Even if they drew, like, Wormcoil or something, I'd just blast them or attack them in the air. Alright, 6 and 2. Playing for the trophy. Back-to-back red-whites. Back-to-back 6 and 2s. Back-to-back trophies? I don't know. We'll have to see. This deck has been fun. I gotta say, like, both the games I lost were close and interesting. Most of the games I've won have been somewhat close. I mean, they've been close on board. I guess in reality, like, the extra cards from Welcome have made them feel not that close. I think we just cracked top 100 Mythic, but if I lose this game, I'll definitely be out of it. But if I win, then that'll be nice. Finish the run, probably, like, 70th or something. I'm not, like, you know, making excuses. It's just true. I play on my phone a lot and while playing poker and stuff like that. I'm not saying I would be #1. I don't, like, claim to be the best or whatever. But, like, my Mythic ranking is usually pretty low. But it is largely because I don't, like, play fully focused, like, when making a draft video. I play literally, like, on my phone all the time while doing other things, like playing poker and stuff. But this is a pretty high rating for me. I'm pretty happy with that one. Y'all are getting me to sit down and focus more, making these videos. Okay, so we're going to curve out. Granted, it's not exactly the beatdown. 1 damage here, then we bring the 1 power Liberator in play. Granted, it's going to grow to a 2 right away. So we definitely want to play the Liberator first, because we don't want to miss growing. It's if the card has casting cost more than its power, right? Yes. So next turn we might have to play Mishra so that we can grow it again when we play Thopter. It's a little bit off curve, but we don't have a ton to use our mana on. So it's probably correct to not miss growing. Well, I do want to bolt that. So speaking of playing off curve, even worse. But, I mean, that is how I maximize growing, right? Play the 2 mana card to grow it to 2, then the 3 mana card to grow it to 3. And that's a good target for Bolt, and I have no attack otherwise. So even though this is bad mana-wise, this is the kind of game where if you look at my hand, I'm going to have unspent mana, right? Aside from, like, pumping this or something. I'm not really worried about, like, being hyper mana efficient, because I'm just casting 1 thing a turn. I mean, like, I could cast this, and then double spell with the 2 little ones. But, like, I'm missing growing on the Liberator. I'm only getting ahead by a damage or 2, and I don't want to miss counters to do that. Well, that's a scarier card, but it's alright. We can block it. So this seems like a no-brainer now. Play the Infantry, which has a great block on the Gix. If they want to remove the Infantry to get in with the Gix, so be it. Unless it's an exile, I'll get a 1/1. Obviously, I would lay down Arms Gix if I could, but I drew all mountains this game. Hopefully they just don't have an answer for the Liberator, and then I can ride that to victory, right? Definitely not that worried about them paying a life to go up a card if I'm hitting them for 5 and 6 in the air here. Okay, so definitely going to play the Plains, and then I can attack with both. The Thop... Oh, but I want the Paratrooper back to block the Locust, because I don't want to let them draw cards. So that actually doesn't make sense. So what makes sense is I'll just play the Thopter Architect pre-combat to grow the Liberator, and then I attack with just that. And now I've got 3/1 back for the Gix, 1/2 back for the Locust. I mean, they might have removal. I definitely plan to kind of, like, flip it and get aggro and kind of pressure Gix that way rather than, like, kind of more of a defensive plan. The thing is, if they have Disfigure, they could just Disfigure the Paratrooper when I attack with it. I'm not going to not send the Liberator here for 4 damage to hold it back to block the Locust. And the Infantry attack would just give them a free attack with the Gix, basically. So maybe next turn, we'll see. You know, they're getting lower. They're going to 12 now. But this turn, there's no way to play around Disfigure with Paratrooper, and the Infantry attack was not going to help. Okay, so I can flash in the Juggernaut. So I give up a damage if I do that, if I attack with Liberator now. But I think that's worth it, right? Like, I can attack them for 7. They probably put Thraxodemon on Infiltrator, and then if they attack back with Gix, I can flash in Juggernaut to block. Although, do I even really want that block? I mean, infantry for demon is slightly positive. Maybe I just play Juggernaut pre and then attack for 8. If they take 8, that's great. If they trade, fine. Because, I mean, I can hold the infantry back because it's a much better block. But, I mean, the Juggernaut, like, it's still a good block on Gix. Gix is a scary card, even if it's not super scary right now. So I think I'm going to attack with both. I just don't want to miss damage. I don't really care that much about the trade. So I think I'm just going to bring it in now so I don't miss a point. This feels like a game where every point matters. If I get them low enough, they can't even activate Gix anyway. And, like, their exact life total matters a lot, right? Like, I'm hitting them for 5 in the air. They're gaining 1 to 8. They're paying 1. So I think every point matters a lot here. So, like, now they go to 7 if they draw the card. So if I draw planes, I put them back to 10. Well, okay, so I can play Mishra with haste, attack with all 3. If they want to eat the Mishra instead of blocking the Juggernaut, they go to literally 1. Doesn't seem bad. It doesn't seem great. Can I play Mishra, rummage away the cohort, and then still bring it out? Yes. And then they can't eat the 1/1. That seems better. Okay. I got the line. Even though the cohort's going to the yard, I mean, whatever. The Mishra's coming into play. I can attack with it next turn. I'm trying to discard a land, and I'm going to have 3 mana, thanks to the 2 mana Mishra makes, to rummage back cohort. This is awesome. And then I can attack with everything. They basically have to block Juggernaut, lose Gix, take a ton of damage. Then they don't draw any more cards. This does maximum damage. I can send the 1/1. They can't, like, eat that. They're literally taking 6 down to, like, 1. I know they have the Talisman, but that only puts them to 2. And it gets the Gix off the board, so no more drawing cards. That was great. That was 100% the right line. The Mishra had 2 extra mana came through 2 games in a row. I mean, I didn't really need it the last time, but this time that was huge. So they have 3 blockers. So they're not dead on board. What if I bring back Juggernaut? They can, cause I can Mishra's away the cohort again, but then I'd still only have 3 attackers. If I bring the Juggernaut and turn all 4, they have 3 blockers, but they're not dead because they're 3/5 and the 5/3, so they can eat up all the damage. So it looks like my choices. I don't really have like a great attack or anything. I can bring the Juggernaut back, force them to basically trade the Goliath for it, which, you know, it has unearthed. Or I can, like... What happens if I attack with everything, though? Because... Oh, you know what? It's fine, because the Goliath has to block the Juggernaut or they'll die to trample. So then they can kill off the Mishra, but I don't need the Rummage. I have all spells in hand. And then the Locust trades with a 1/1, the Inspector trades with the Mishra, and then a 1 gets through even. So that's good. So basically I'm getting like an evenish trade. I don't really love the Mishra trade, but it gets me a damage through, and it gets me the 1/1 soldier for Locust, which is a good trade, obviously. Oh, what was I saying? They're going to put the 3/2 on the 1/1 and the 1/1 on Locust. I missed that. That might not have been good. Maybe I should have sent just Juggernaut. Well, we can just compare, right? If I send just Juggernaut, it still kills the 3/5. So what did I do there? I traded the 2/1 and a 1/1 for the Carrion Locust and a damage. Yeah, that was bad. I just made a mistake, y'all. I'm sorry. For some reason, I didn't realize they were going to put Inspector on a 1/1 because I'm stupid. This is what happens when you get old, like I always say. Okay. That's fine, though. They're at 1. We're still in great shape, but that attack was bad. The right line last turn, if you're not punting, is just attack with just Juggernaut. They still just have to trade the 3/5 with it. So I should just send just Juggernaut, eat the 3/5, or the other 2 creatures. Probably that might not even be enough. They're at 2. Yeah, they just have to. The right play was to bring back the Juggernaut. They eat the 3/5, and that's it. And then I can attack again on a later turn. Don't get me wrong, the potential alpha is not going to be better on the following turn or something because they're gaining life, and but like it wasn't a good trade. It wasn't good to trade Mishra and a 1/1 for the Carrion Locust and 1 damage, which is the end result of that trade. So that was a small punt. It didn't cost us because I had a handful of spells. We were in great shape. And that was a really well-navigated game, I think, I played until that turn. You know, they had the Mishra, I was bobbing and weaving, I was deciding to let them get a card to deal 4 or 5, which seemed right. I think I sequenced my spells correctly to grow the Mishra, but to grow the Urza, but not double spell. So overall, I think I played well. Just on that next to last turn, I should have just brought the 5-3 and attacked with only that and passed the turn. Well, another good draft run, 7-2. Another exciting one. I swear I don't plan that or force that. 73rd ranked Mythic, pretty good. Thanks to everybody who watched. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you next week.